do it live.
When Robert and Nancy became man and wife, their children became stepbrothers.
Hey.
Hey.
Now,
Vernon, you and Dale are going to have to share a room. Just until the two of you get jobs and you move out.
they're living side by side.
Are you awake? Yeah. I hate your guts. I'm gonna beat the shit out of you.
Working out their differences.
I think they're starting to like each other.
What are you doing? I'm burying you. I'm alive, man. I'm alive. You're waking the neighbors. Shut up.
Well, welcome to the lounge. Today's show is sponsored by Prestige Worldwide.
Prestige Worldwide. Why?
Yes, we're going to do our first in a series called Movies Maria Missed. And basically, we've got a wheel that we're going to spin for the movies. But for the first one, I went pretty hard on you, I think. You had told me you had never seen Step Brothers.
Never.
Never wanted to see Step Brothers.
No.
And you did it for the good of the show. So I appreciate that.
Took one for the team.
So we're about to talk about 2008's Step Brothers, which is one of the movies Maria missed, surprisingly. So your first thing I'm going to say is we have a video of us watching the film. And what's amazing about that is you barely moved. Your face stayed the same. There's a couple of places that there were definite reactions. We can talk about those scenes. Mm-hmm. And then most of the part, you just sat there and stared. How did you like the film?
The movie was fine. It's definitely dated. And if I'd watched it in 2008, you might have gotten more of a reaction. But 2024 Maria just was not.
What about it? Okay, so this came, like I said, 2008.
Right.
Hangover came out in 2009. And that was hailed as the beginning of R-rated comedy again.
Right.
When this one is definitely R-rated, for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, there's F-bombs.
Yeah, because it's the R-rated part that made me laugh.
Yeah. So you enjoyed parts of it.
Yeah.
What is it about the 2004 Maria that didn't like this film or thought it was not your cup of tea?
Well, I'm a 60-year-old woman now. I saw The Hangover right after it came out. It was hilariously funny. I don't know if I watched it again now, I would find it as funny. And part of it is, I'm around 16, 17-year-old boys all day, all the time for the past 20 some odd years.
Right.
So I think it's the humor. I've just heard it all. It's just all happening.
So you brought real life into this film for you? This film is like a documentary? Is that what you're telling us?
No, I'm saying life has worn me down and made it harder for me to laugh at absurdities.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen this film. I can't say I've seen this a ton because there's actually a scene in there that I didn't remember. Now, I don't know if that's because the version I have is different, but that scene where Dale and Catherine Hahn go out and have sex in the side room while they're at Thanksgiving or something, or Christmas dinner because the dad's all upset about having no soul or whatever. I don't remember that scene, seeing that when they had sex obviously they were having sex.
They were.
Yeah. So I don't know when the last time I saw this film, but it is ridiculously absurd. But it is, if you're a Will Ferrell person, if you're a fan of Will Ferrell, you love this film.
Right.
It's also, this is an early Adam McKay film, I think, his director, who did, I think he and Will Ferrell went on to do The Other Guys, and they're the ones who were in charge of The Big Short and things like that. So Adam McKay, and it started with The Other Guys. It's sort of I'm sorry, I'm wrestling with my earpiece here. It's they go for social, like the end of The Other Guys, they do a whole graphic show, and you'll see The Other Guys, that's part of the wheel as well, if you spin on it. They do a whole thing about Ponzi schemes. They explain what a Ponzi scheme is about. So Adam McKay and him are, they're into the social stuff. But this comedy, this absurd stuff they've been doing, well, I think since 2008. I don't know how early they were doing these, him and Will Ferrell. So you're not a Will Ferrell fan, lover. Really?
Not a huge, I won't go to a movie because Will Ferrell's in it.
Okay.
There's very few actors and actresses, though, that I am like, oh, I want to go see a De Niro film. I'm just, that's not
who would that
I
actor
am.
be? Who would that be?
Probably Daniel Craig is probably my only, I love that actor. And
James Bond, Daniel Craig?
Yeah, because he was in James Bond, and he's really
I can
cute.
see that. That makes sense.
There you go.
Yeah.
But I'm just, Will Ferrell,
people love and hate Will Ferrell. If you don't like Will Ferrell, most of his films are like this, Anchorman, all that. People hate him.
Right.
If you love him, you love these. These are funny, and
Right.
you watch him do whatever he wants to do.
Like I liked him in Saturday Night Live in little skits, but a
Yeah.
2-hour movie, it gets too much to me. It's just like too much. And that's what this was too. I mean, it was like the bits were funny for a while, but then they just kind of get old.
Well, it's one bit.
It's one big bit. You're right.
And everybody has to deal with that bit throughout the film.
Right.
And it doesn't change. They don't grow. They don't arc at all.
No.
Everybody arcs around them.
Right.
Everybody adapts to their craziness.
Right.
Ultimately, at the end, when they're getting their pirate hats on and his therapist says about how great he looks in that pirate hat, he's rocking that pirate hat or something. I forget what she said. Okay. What, if any, were your favorite scenes? Do you remember?
Well, my favorite scenes were all the sex scenes. Like I found that just hilarious. Like the first one when he didn't even know what was happening, and then
With Catherine Hahn in the bathroom.
Yeah, like he was like, "Oh my god,
It's
I'm
slippery.
gonna
This is
explode.
slippery."
It's slippery." I mean, I thought that was hilarious that he's a 40-year-old guy and he didn't even know. Because then I was like, has he ever even pleasured himself? Kind of thing.
I could imagine they did because
Yeah.
he had all those masks and stuff in the house, his movie masks. And that's Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, and she's hilarious.
Yeah, she's great.
She's great. And then, the scene where they're in, because I thought they had gone to a whole nother like guest house or something, but it turned out that they were in the other room and they're having sex again and they're like popping in and out. And I'm like, nobody knows what's going on because to me it was painfully obvious.
Yeah, that's a scene I did not remember.
Right.
And like I said, I can't remember the last time I saw the film, but I don't remember that scene. But okay, so all the sex where he's being sexually abused by that woman, that's what you thought was funny.
Yeah.
Because really that's what's going on. I mean, think of him like a 15-year-old, okay? Does it change how you feel about that scene at all?
He was enjoying it.
He was enjoying it. Well, I think a 15-year-old would too, but that's not the point.
Yeah, but he's a
and she was
40-year-old
great.
man, but he's not 15.
Listen,
He's 40.
The button on that scene is when she pees in the urinal.
Stay golden, pony boy.
Oh my God. You're incredible.
That was...
Pony boy, and then she just gets up and pees.
And then, the reference to The Outsiders, that was funny.
What's the Pony boy? Oh, is that what that's from?
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah. Let's see. What else? Because I watched the whole... I didn't watch. I scanned us watching. And as you fast forward, your face is just stoic. And then every once in a while it would pop up and I would stop on that scene to see what it was. And I'll play that back in here. But yeah, I mean, it's funny when you have someone watch a film that you love. Mm-hmm. I know the pressure on you is like me staring at you like, is she going to laugh? Is this the point? And I'm cackling through the whole thing.
Right.
And it puts a lot of pressure on you, I think.
Yeah.
So I just okay, let's talk about the parents. Because you hated the dad.
Yeah, I hated the dad.
You hated the dad.
I hated the dad.
Why didn't you hate the mother?
Because she was still trying to be nurturing to them throughout. When
Nurturing, or would you say...
I didn't hate the
Would you
dad.
say that she was living in a dream world that, my kids are perfect?
I'm gonna call it nurturing because
Okay,
that's
'cause
what
you're a
that's
mother.
what I'm gonna say. But
Right.
I didn't hate the dad until he bonded with the douche. When he decided that the douchey son was just
That's the son he wanted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his son, calling him
Scott.
son.
Adam Scott was
and
great, yeah.
all these things were like, wait, you raised the 39, 40-year-old who can't leave the house, and why are you all of a sudden loving the douche? And he was a douche.
All his friends were douches too.
Yeah, they were awful.
And I was defending the dad through the whole thing. I
You were.
understood his frustration. I understood the, her need to protect her son the whole time.
But she didn't just protect her son. Then she started protecting his son, too.
Both of them. But yeah, until they were fighting in the front yard and she was losing her mind. And
Well,
like dogs. I mean, essentially like dogs.
yeah.
Yeah, I was tracking with that guy's frustration. I don't know how I feel about him siding with the dude, although he was just trying to sell his house and he wanted to just go on his boat, and the kids destroyed the boat for that Prestige Worldwide promo they did.
That was awful. But he didn't want to sell the house until the douche told him he could sell the house.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh, I want to sell the house tomorrow. All of a sudden, douchey guy is like, hey, man, I can even sell your house.
Right.
I mean, he was just so awful. And the other guy, the dad was just enamored with that. And I found that telling to his personality. I'm like, oh, if you're attracted to that douchiness, then you therefore must have that somewhere inside of you.
Well, how quick did they meet? I mean, they met at that conference he did. He looks out in the thing, and they're in bed that night. So, I mean, they're not the most, I would say, responsible human beings that raise these two 49-year-old. I'm not going to say they were virgins. I can't tell if they were virgins or not. I think they might have been. But like we were watching the trailer before we started, and there were scenes that were not in the movie. You know, when they were meeting with that human resources lady, and they go, "Well, we'll both sleep with you, and you know, whatever it takes to get the job." And that's not in the film. So I don't know if they were actually virgins or not. I got to believe they probably were. But you know, they get beat up by the kids. There's all kinds of weird. I mean, this is. I mean, I hate to but this is a guy movie, right? I mean, this is a movie that guys are going to guffaw. If you're talking about 16 and 15-year-old dudes saying this kind of stuff at school. Yeah. And this is a guy. It's a guy flick.
Well,
but your daughter loves it.
That's what I'm saying. Kaylee, like, she could quote you line for line the other night.
Right.
She, like, totally knew the movie.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking, well, she watched it as an adolescent, though, too.
Right.
Like, it's
tricky.
It's tricky.
Because I was an adult when I saw it in 2008, and I thought it was a riot. But I'm on Will Ferrell. I mean, I'm a Will Ferrell. Not everything.
Right.
On the wheel is Will Ferrell for you, Stranger Than Fiction.
Yeah.
Which is a serious film he did, which I have never seen. So if it spins up, that'll be good. I'll see that as well. It'll be interesting to see your reaction to that kind of Will Ferrell movie. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think of other films he's done that might fit more in.
I mean, I liked Elf.
Okay, but that's him being a 5-year-old.
Exactly, which is what he was in this movie, except for he was supposed to be a 5-year-old because he was an elf.
Right.
Here, he was supposed to be a grown-up, which annoyed me.
Well, an Arrested Development grown-up. Arrestedly developed grown-up.
Correct.
Both of them, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the father was too. And I'd say the mother was too. Because her reactions, you know, the way she turned too, she turned on the guy. Her husband, like at Christmas, went to the Cheesecake Factory for drinks.
That was kind of funny.
Right. And that's funny. And he said, I had a great night. It was, you know, this is after the kids had destroyed the house sleepwalking and the bunk bed situation. Did you think the bunk bed thing was funny?
Yeah, I did chuckle at that. And then, you know, he's
literally
bleeding
a chuckle.
everywhere.
I saw it. It was a chuckle.
Was it a guffaw?
It was not a guffaw. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of silly scenes that go on in this film. And I wanted to get this one out of the way because there's a whole bunch of others on the wheel that are legitimate films. Like, you haven't seen Casablanca. You haven't seen Citizen Kane.
No.
We could go down the list, 2001.
No.
I mean, it's shocking. Some Like It Hot. You've never seen? Okay. So this was just sort of to get you primed for what's about to happen down the road when we do more of these. But it's also, again, because it's such an early R-rated film, 2008, and The Hangover made such a big deal out of being a R-rated hard comedy. I forget when Old School came out. If Old School came out before or after this, I can look that up. But this was sort of an early version of this kind of absurd R-rated comedy thing.
And it's funny because the more you mention Hangover, I loved The Hangover. Like, I laughed uproariously at that.
That's a little different than this. But
I was like, okay, so you were saying that first R-rated comedy and Step Brothers is the first R-rated, was actually there before Hangover. So I was like, what is the difference? And I think, you know, I don't know. I just couldn't, like there were funny scenes, like the Chewbacca masks. They're funny. Yeah. You know.
The sword fight they have up in the room.
Yeah, the sword, like there's
the
funny...
sword fight in the bathroom.
Yeah.
The drum kit. You know, the nutsack on the drum kit.
See, the nutsack on the drum kit, I was just like, it went on too long.
Well,
like, to me, the bits went on, like the little bits like that went on just a little bit too long.
This is sort of the Mike Myers theory on comedy, which is if something's funny, you just keep doing it, doing it. And eventually it becomes absurd to the point where you're just like, this is funny, ridiculous. It's almost too much, but you get it. So I think this movie plays a lot on that, especially with the kids. And then they come back to the kids after the credits. You know, they really hit it all. Let's talk about John C. Reilly and the relationship between him and Will Ferrell. They were great together.
They were good together.
They tried again in a Sherlock Holmes movie that bombed.
Really?
Yeah, they went for the same kind of, not Step Brothers-ish, but acting together and trying to be
Because I kind of liked their little arc where they hated each other and then they found some common ground. I did laugh when the douchey guy was trying to sell the house and they kept coming up with these different bits as ways to not sell the house.
Priceless.
I was like, that was
the
that was good.
KKK, the Nazi,
yes.
the dead body in the living room.
Yeah, I was like, this is perfect. You guys, this is good. This is funny.
Right.
But it just couldn't carry the whole thing. Like there wasn't
Well, I
enough
think
of
a
that
movie
for
like
me.
this, it can't carry that, right? When you have
Right.
to have absurd scene after absurd scene, it's hit or miss.
Right.
And if you're in at the beginning and you're on board with those guys, you're in for the whole
Right.
thing. You're not off the boat, so to speak,
Right.
at all. You're into everything they're doing. And the douchey guys are total douchebags.
Right.
And they play that up very well. I love when they become adults and they have to buy toilet paper and the one guy gets a catering job and the other guy gets a job with his brother to sell
Right.
helicopters, and they're at the Catalina wine mixer, the effing Catalina wine mixer,
Yes.
which is a real thing, and which is the scene where they try to play adults,
Right.
and it's when the dad finally realizes, I don't want them to be adults. They should act like, because I wanted to be a Tyrannosaurus Rex
Right,
when
he
I
wanted
was
to
a
be-
kid.
which was
Just let your freak
stupid.
fly and just go up there and drum.
Yeah.
And his father was all proud about that. But they were the same guys. Nothing changed.
Yeah.
They were the same because they were wrestling with they wouldn't hug his brother at the end and things like that. So,
Yeah.
Mary Steenburgen,
Now, I
of
usually
course.
really like her, and
Yeah.
I did like her in this, but
Yeah.
not a ton.
Well, you know,
because she was just,
she always plays the same.
she's just who she was.
Yeah, she plays that same cute person. Richard Jenkins playing the dad was fantastic.
Yeah.
Adam Scott playing the douchey brother was.
That was good, and I do like Adam Scott.
And of course, Catherine Hahn she hits home runs all the time.
Yeah.
I mean, she's in.
And the scene with the kids singing in the car,
yeah.
God, that was stupid, but it was just like, this is ridiculous. I was like, what is this family? It's like, they weren't even Brady Bunchy.
No, but they were Meet the Millers. Have you ever seen that movie?
No.
Okay, that's it's not on the list. It might be on the list. I'm not sure. The list is long.
The
We
list is gonna
we don't have our lifetime to fill out the list.
I know. I haven't seen a lot of movies.
But you've seen a lot of movies.
Yeah, but I've seen
It's
a lot.
amazing the ones you haven't seen. I don't know why. It's just shocking.
Yeah.
I mean, again, there's tons of movies I haven't seen. Someone could
Yeah.
make a list of movies I haven't seen, and I understand. This is from my perspective.
Right.
Movies that I think I'd like you to see, which is the list
Right.
we made up. I'm sorry I threw this one at you. I just wanted to get it out of the way,
That's
kind
okay.
of. 'Cause I
Well, this
wanted you to
wine
see
is from Wine in the Woods.
it. Is
Catalina
that
wine.
is the Catalina Wine Festival?
Because you kept saying that when we were there.
I did. I kept
So I was like,
quoting that. That's the one quote I remembered. Yeah, there's so many people. They have all their regulars that are in this film. Seth Rogen even had a little part in here.
Well, that's what I did say. There was a lot of cameos because there was the guy from The Hangover, the Asian guy from The Hangover. He
he's
had
in
a
everything, but
cameo.
yeah.
Like they had Seth Rogen in there. They had a ton of cameos, people who ultimately became more.
Right.
And Seth Rogen's part was funny. Like
Yeah.
that whole scene was funny. They were like, "Oh my gosh, they're finally going to get a job," and then the
Yeah.
man just farts
He
for
just,
20 minutes straight.
went on. Again, absurdist humor, which worked. Especially
Right.
he does this little one where he jokes like that.
It made me laugh, but
yeah.
then it went on too long.
Right. Well, that's typical. Who's another producer on this movie?
Who?
Judd Apatow.
Oh, and I usually like Judd Apatow.
Well, he's another one though where it's all improv and
Okay.
they go on too long sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes they, if it's not scripted and you let these guys run off, they can just extend
Right.
and go on and on and on. I think they hit these. I think for the most part, they stayed within the bounds of what this movie was about. And again, it was an hour and 40 minutes, so it's quick.
That's true. It wasn't long.
And it's like I said, the dudes don't grow at all. As a matter of fact, the adults regress. They just give up. The guy puts this boat up in a tree, makes a tree house for them, which is great. I mean, you go as a guy, you're like,
See,
whoa.
but
that's-
I didn't see it as them regressing. Like I didn't see it
Just
that
accepting
at all.
them as the-
like just accepting them for who they were. But then they ultimately made the prestige worldwide actually working. Like it
How
wasn't.
did they didn't do anything.
There was some like stuff towards the end that made you think that they
in
were
the helicopter, when they come out of the helicopter.
there was like they had elevated from a little bit from where they were before.
Maybe.
And then everybody else was like, okay, this is who they are, so we're going to just deal with it.
Yeah. I didn't see that.
I did.
I didn't see that because they go back and beat up the kids. I know they come out of the helicopter,
But they
so
don't
maybe.
but they beat up the kids, but they don't make him eat the white shit. What they do is they hold him over it and they're like, okay, now you know what it feels like. And then
that's nice. That's nice of them. And I guess maybe the helicopter was one of the ones that he had from his job.
Right, because he did the Catalina wine thing.
The effing Catalina wine mixer.
Yeah, it worked.
Yeah. I don't know. I didn't think they grew at all.
I thought they did.
And, no.
I thought they had a little bit of growth. I thought everybody had a little bit of growth.
Well, where was
I thought they kind of matured some. They understood that they had to do more than what they were doing, but they didn't have to give up everything they were to do that. And then I felt like everybody else learned that they had to kind of accept that these kids, their job, their life was not going to be going to a job 9 to 5 every day.
Right. Do you think when this movie fades to black that they're living together or are they living separately?
Oh, I think they stay together.
They do.
Until they...
In that house with the mom and dad?
I don't know.
Because they have the tree house at that house.
Right. I think at some point the two stepbrothers move out together.
Yeah. I don't know if there was ever the idea for a Step Brothers 2 sequel. I don't know if
I don't think you can.
Yeah.
It's done. One and done with them.
Like same with the Hot Tub Time Machine. And Adam Scott was in that sequel. They did have you seen that one? Oh, that's on the list too.
No.
And Adam Scott was in that one, in the sequel, and the sequel wasn't nearly as good as the first one. I'm not sure if they ever talked about doing a sequel for this one. So, as the first one you've seen in movies Maria missed, give me your 1 to 5 scale.
I'm going to give you a 2.5.
2.5.
Yeah.
And what gave it the 2.5? Was it
what gave it the 2.5 was Catherine Hahn.
Yeah, I can see that.
And Adam Scott, even though he was like a douche, he really did. Like honestly, everybody acted their job. Like the actors did a good.
He played that very well.
Yeah, they
I
and
think
they all
the abs
did.
were fake though.
You know, well they were fake, but Will Ferrell, like they all played really well. So that's what the 2.5 comes from. That all the actors did their job. But the reason why I can't go any further is because their job, there just wasn't much material to work with.
Right.
At least I didn't think.
I don't know. I like I said, seeing this again in 2024, to me, I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. What, are you shocked that I didn't give it a 5?
No, I'm just shocked that you gave it a 4.
Oh, come on. What are you crazy? I thought you were shocked I didn't give it a 5.
No, I thought you would give it a 3.
No. It's a total. It's up there. It's up there. But again, watching it now, I guess it seemed lamer than what I remember. And it's part of it is, how long ago? 2008?
It's 2008.
We're talking 18,
That's
14, 16
ago.
years. Good math. I don't know. So that's why I lost a star, because I felt like it was a little flat. And I didn't remember some of the scenes, which surprised me, unless I was watching a version that was not in the movie theater. I just don't remember that scene of them having sex outside that dinner that they were having.
Right, and they kept popping in and
they
then
were
closing the door.
She was all wrapped around him and stuff. So
well,
that's on me. That's not
from the back.
That's not anybody else. So 2 out of 2.5, and I gave it 4. So all right. Well, the next thing we're going to do is spin for the 10 question.
Okay.
Now, we did this once already. Obviously, if it lands on us again, lands on the question that we did last time, we just spin it again.
Okay.
And then after that, we'll do the next movie for you to watch, movies Maria missed. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to spin for the 10 question.
Okay.
And then you can't hear the music, but it's spinning. I think you might have answered this already. What film is your guilty pleasure?
Is my guilty pleasure?
It can be porn if you'd like.
I don't watch porn at all. Okay. I've actually never even seen a full porn from beginning to end.
Should I add one to the list?
My film is my guilty pleasure. This is so terrible, but it's the Fire Festival documentaries.
That's a guilty pleasure?
Yes, I love to watch them.
Why? You like seeing millennials in pain? Why do you like that one?
It's terrible, but I kind of like to see rich people get screwed.
Well,
it's kind of fun.
They definitely get screwed on that one.
I'm terrible, but that's would be my guilty pleasure.
That one.
Yeah.
Which one? There's 2 documentaries. There were 2.
I know.
If you remember.
Yeah,
There's one on Hulu,
there's
one
one
on Netflix.
Hulu and one Netflix, and
Yeah.
they both have different kind of bents to them. And I think it's the Hulu one, the one that I watch more frequently.
Yeah, but the Netflix one really got into the dude that had to give blowjobs to get the water. Do you remember that one?
Right. I
Yeah.
do. So that's the Netflix one, the one where it
Yes.
talks about that. Okay.
Got more into it.
Yeah, it did get more into it.
Yeah. All right, so that's interesting. Mine is the same every time I get asked this question, and it's Ridley Scott's The Counselor,
Oh,
which
never seen
is hated by everybody but me. And I think Ridley Scott might even hate it for all I know. And there's a podcast that we watch called Breakfast All Day, and you can pay $300 to go on their podcast and review a film with them. And I've been waiting for someone to give me a Christmas gift or a birthday gift to pay for me to go on with them, and I can ask them why that movie sucks so much. I hear that it's pretentious. I hear all kinds of things. I just absolutely love that film. It's got Brad Pitt. It's got Michael Fassbender. It's directed by Ridley Scott. It's crazy, but nobody likes it. But that's my guilty pleasure that immediately can talk about. All right. Well, the next one spin is for the next film. Are you ready?
Okay, I am ready.
There's a lot of them on here.
There are, because I haven't seen a lot of movies.
See, it's spinning.
It's spinning.
Oh, I'm sorry.
What is it?
Old School,
What's that?
starring Will Ferrell. And
So
Luke
we'll
Wilson.
just do the whole Will Ferrell
No, I don't want to do
repertoire.
that. It's just that's
fine.
what happened.
That's what happens.
I'm sorry that
Yeah.
happened that way, but
That's
no,
okay.
it's yeah. So Old School with Will Ferrell, Luke Wilson. You know the premise of this one? Luke Wilson plays a gentleman whose wife breaks up with him or has an affair, or he catches her cheating, and to get himself feeling better, his friends, decide to start a frat at a college. So Luke Wilson starts a frat that Vince Vaughn, one of his buddies, obviously Will Ferrell, and a bunch of other people start a frat, and it becomes this popular frat on campus. It's
I
called
might
Old
like
School.
that, because I like a Luke Wilson.
Luke Wilson is good. Let me see when this
Vince
came
Vaughn
out.
in comedy's fine. Psycho,
This is the
not
one.
so much.
This is the one actually that I think I know. Swingers really put Vince Vaughn on the map.
Yeah.
But this one, I think what happened with Vince Vaughn is he came out swinging with Swingers.
Right.
I mean, really, he hit a home run with that one. And then he kind of dwindled again. And he was trying serious roles. He was in Jurassic Park 2. He was in the second one. He did The Cell. He did a bunch of movies.
Right.
I think he even did I know he did. I don't know if it was between this and then. The remake of, the shot-for-shot remake of Psycho.
Yeah, he did.
Okay.
And that was not good.
So I think Old School is the one that kind of brought him back. Oh, this
Okay.
guy is funny. And this came out actually before Step Brothers. This came out in 2003, I think, is
okay.
what this is telling me. Old School, 2003. Okay. So again, maybe I was wrong. This is R-rated humor as well.
Okay.
And pretty funny, actually. So I'll videotape you watching this one as well. See what happens there. Anyway, thanks for joining the lounge.
Thank
Again,
you.
Maria, my co-host, thanks for coming.
Cheers.
And cheers. And we'll do another movie Maria missed. All right.
Can't wait.
Okay.
Looking forward to it.